Hey, what's going on, guys? Am I
Hey
live?
man, how you doing?
Am I live? I think I am.
You're live. Yeah, you are.
All right. Hey, how's everyone doing today? How you doing, Brad?
Good. How are you, sir?
Doing pretty good. Hey, Mikey. All right. So I was actually coming in every little bit and checking on basically all the interviews I guess that you were doing today and getting a
Very
little bit of
nice.
information from each one. And actually, I really enjoyed Brian's on snow removal. I think I learned a lot from that, and that's pretty cool. He's looking to get one of those rear back plows, I guess, for his truck,
Yeah.
and he's hoping the company's gonna get it to him. But I was learning a lot from everything. So,
You're gonna
um,
do snow eventually?
I don't think so. I don't think snow is for me so much. I don't want to have to get up really early or get called out on Christmas or anything. So I'm
Yeah,
looking to make the majority of my money doing regular lawn care, and then in the wintertime, I'm having some other kind of side job just to help pay the bills.
yeah, that sounded like one of the big disadvantages of that is you don't get to sleep in.
Yeah, yep, and I need my sleep time.
Yeah. All right. So if you don't know, Wyatt is running his own very successful company. He is 18 now.
Yep, just turned 18.
Just turned 18. He's got his own setup. I know we had a couple of topics we were going to talk about, and we split them between you and James. So, what was one of the first ones you were going to talk about?
Well, actually, I have five topics I was going to talk about, I believe. But I was going to talk about what it's like doing lawn care at such a young age and like how I got into it, kind of.
Yeah,
Um,
so I had a couple of questions about like how the homeowners treat you, how other lawn care people treat you, and then, but it'd probably be better first to just talk about, when you even decided you wanted to do lawn care and how that journey started. Those are always the behind the scenes and the how it all started are always good to hear.
Absolutely, yeah. So I got started. We used to live back in North Carolina in the Outer Banks. We used to live down there back in 2010. I was 10 years old, and I decided that I wanted to start mowing lawns. I had gotten into mowing then through my parents. They had a push mower, and they had me do the yard as a chore back when I was 10. So I started mowing for them, and I did that for about a year or two. And after that, I decided, you know what, I actually really enjoy this. I might do it, make a little side money. And so when I was 12, we moved back up to PA where I was born and raised, and I actually started a lawn care business here. And I've been slowly growing it and expanding it ever since then. And it's been really great. I actually, after we moved back, transitioned from public school to being homeschooled, and that allowed a lot more flexibility to do lawn care. Because a lot of like my competition, there's only like one or two other kids around town who do it, and since they're in public school, they can only do late at night on weekdays or
Mhm.
weekends. So that gives me the advantage. So a lot of people will hire me over them because of that.
Yeah, because you can finish it like in the morning time. Well, I guess not morning. Well, like how does a homeschool day go? Like, do you as soon as you finish your work for the day, you're done?
Well, I'm actually doing a cyber school right now, which is why I have this headset, and
Mhm.
it's extremely flexible, so I can actually work ahead and start mowing first thing in the morning one day, or if I fall a day behind, it's not a big deal. I can just do my schoolwork on a weekend.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, so I try to do my schoolwork on rainy days and in mornings, and then I mow on the afternoons and evenings.
That's a very neat setup. And is that just, one through your state, one of the cyber schools that's run through the state?
Yeah, yep, it's called Commonwealth Charter Academy.
Very cool.
Yep. So I'm enjoying that, and I was gonna also have thoughts on one of the topics I want to cover was hiring friends. 'Cause a lot of people who are really young, they like the idea of hiring a friend, and I was actually talking with James. He's gonna be coming on later, guys, from Australia. I was talking with him about this, and his thoughts are you should definitely hire friends. And this is where it's interesting because I don't think you should hire friends. So I'll say why I don't think you should now, and then he'll go on later and say why he thinks you should hire friends. But
Yeah, and
anyways,
I would want to know how you feel about hiring adults. Not that you're not an adult, but when I say adult, you know what I mean, like somebody
yeah,
who's, 25 or 30 and the dynamic there. That would be pretty I don't know if
interesting.
unique would be the awkward. Yeah, that's more accurate.
Definitely, yeah. So I definitely, I would like to hire high school kids this year just because cheaper hourly rate, and that way I can get their work on weekends and whatnot. I don't need full-time employees or anything, and I actually can't afford to hire an adult part-time or full-time yet. So I have to build my way up to that. So for now, high schoolers are a perfect option. I have a couple friends that would be happy to mow with me, but I won't hire them just because my thoughts on having a friend is it could affect your business decisions. You might not want to say, hey, this is what you did wrong. Can you go back and fix it or whatnot? Because you don't want to hurt that friendship at all. There's a lot of a dynamic there that you have to think about whenever you're hiring a friend, and you might get to a point where you have to make a decision that could be better for the business, but it might not be as good for your friendship, where, you know, your friend might not be showing up on time and he's just not a good employee. But if you fire him, that might be bad for your friendship. So I don't think you should hire friends for that reason. Just because it adds unnecessary stress, because having employees would already be stressful enough, and it's really hard to find good employees, and so you don't want to bring a friendship into that. You just want to have good people on the side that you can hang out with and talk about this stuff.
So you say as least complicated as possible. You don't want a employer-employee relationship tangled in with a friendship relationship. You just want one or the other.
Yep, and I think that if a friendship develops with one of your employees, that's awesome. I'm trying to think, it was Wally with Beach River Lawn and Landscape on YouTube. He actually, and this is a really cool idea, he gets together with his employees and does huge like barbecues, and he takes them out to dinner and whatnot. And so they have a friendship like that. But their relationship did not start off as a friendship. They started off, he was the boss, they were the employees, and they kind of grew that relationship, which I think is what you would want to do in that case, because then you actually would get better employees out of them too, as they get to know you and whatnot.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can understand that.
Mm-hmm. Is my lighting okay? Because it looks really white to me.
It's a little washed out, but I was going to say, I don't know if you're sitting in front of a window with a drape or something, but if the drape let light through.
Yeah, no, the drape is completely black, so I can rotate the computer just a little bit just to see if that makes a difference, but I don't know that it will.
Well, but I mean, either way, it's still fine. I think that did do a little bit, but that's all right.
Anyways, what other topics do you say you wanted to cover?
Your setup, how you started off, and I know you were working with your brother for a little while too.
Yep, he's actually going to be helping me again this year, and it actually works really well. I read online that you're not supposed to ever hire family. And I was looking into not hiring him, but he was a good option because he's also homeschooled. So he has that flexibility as well. So I can have him help out whenever I need it. And actually this year he's going to be helping me every day I go out. He's going to be going out as well. Man, that sun is getting worse.
That's all right.
Anyways, he's going to be helping me out every day. And actually just got another Time Master so that we do a lot of like trailer park size properties, I guess. And so for those yards, Time Masters are great because we can get in and out between obstacles. A 36-inch stand-on would be a little bit too much, and Time Masters are cheap to maintain and buy. I just got my new one. I got it for $500 used, so it's very cheap compared to like a $7,000 stand-on mower or something. So it's good for getting into the business, and we're both going to be using those to bust out lawns. And we also have 2 string trimmers and stuff. And so since I drive, we basically we have a schedule. We figure out how to alternate equipment and whatnot, so it all works out very well.
Good. And so you said you had started from, mowing your own lawn as kind of a chore. How did your parents, how did you approach them and say, I want to do this with other people? And then what was their response?
Well, I told them that I was looking to make some side money and that I would like to mow neighbors' yards. And my mom was very supportive. She actually has her own business. She owns rental company, so she rents out her house and whatnot weekly. And so she helped me design flyers and pass those out and whatnot. And it was very helpful. They were very encouraging. And my dad actually encouraged me to get jobs that weren't on the same block where we lived. And if they were farther away, he would drive me to it and load up on the trailer. Yep, so he did that to different jobs. And it was harder to organize when I was going to mow because it went for their schedules and mine at the same time. Mm-hmm. But they were both very encouraging about it. And they still continue to be. They actually, when I was actually started to save up for a car, and they bought me my first car and gave it to me because of the business, and they wanted to help support that. So they got me something that was safe and that would tow a trailer so I can get started. That's
very nice. And that's the Nissan you ride, or Saturn that you ride around in.
Yep. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, that's nice, Ed. Do you feel like you wouldn't be as successful as you are now if they hadn't given you that same level of support?
I don't know. I don't know that I would have stuck with it as long if I hadn't. I probably wouldn't have gotten the start I originally got.
Mhm.
Whenever my mom helped me design the flyers, I think I passed out about 75 of them. And I got 7 calls in 2 weeks just
That's
by
a
those
really good
75.
response rate.
Yeah, so and actually that was another thing I want to talk about was how to get clients being young. And I think the best way to do that is to dress very nicely. I don't mean like suit and tie or anything, but a collared shirt
I
like
want
you
to be a
wear.
gardener in a three-piece suit with nice little cufflinks
Yeah,
and
nope. I'm talking like a collared shirt, like you're wearing, like you do when you mow sometimes, and just wearing something like that with some nice looking jeans, and going door to door, and letting people kind of get a chance to know you, and talking to them a little bit. And I think that approach works a lot better. I this year I'm planning on passing out about 300 flyers and business cards combined. I actually have like little business card door hangers that you actually have like a little rubber band through it, and you hang them on people's doors. And so I'm planning on using those for people who don't answer. And I'm going to pass those out. 300 of them, I'm expecting to get about 15 to 20 calls off those 300, just because when you go door to door, the response rate is just so much higher. And so I
right.
definitely recommend that for any guy starting. But as an adult, obviously a lot of people don't have the time for that. So it makes sense when I do the mailers and send out like 5 or 10,000 at a time.
I didn't have the energy for it. The first year, which was last year, 2017, I did. I got my business cards and was going to go door to door in the neighborhoods that I wanted, and I think I got about halfway through one, and it's tough, man. Especially if you're by yourself, because you park the car and you walk to the 4 or 5 you can reach, then you walk back to the car and drive another little bit. So yeah, it's more cost effective. And I think it's better because people can see you. But like you said, it does take a little bit more time and energy. But I think it is more effective if they can actually see you and get a taste of your personality.
Absolutely. And that's another tip I was going to have for young kids who are starting off is to be super polite. I was raised to be very polite and say like sir, ma'am, stuff like
I was
that.
born polite.
Yeah, I was born polite. It came out that way. But anyways,
He said, "Thank you so much, doctor. That's the best delivery I ever experienced."
yep. Um, anyways, that helps out a lot because there's a lot of people who hired me and said, when you came to my door, I was not expecting you to be as polite and nice as you are. I was expecting you to be more like a lot of other kids that there are nowadays. And so just because of that, it made me feel the need to hire you and help you out with your business.
Oh, that's good.
Yep. Um,
So, well, and let me ask you this: is that kind of brings up an interesting point? Is that on one side, being young and polite and a go-getter and industrious is an advantage. I feel like being young, people might also think, hey, I can pay this kid, $5 to mow my lawn and he's going to be happy with it. So I guess at first, how did you experience it? Did you have people who were like, no, I'm only going to pay you this? And how have if you did experience that, how have you overcome it? How do you handle it now? That kind of thing. That was like a 12-part question, I think, and it was kind of confusing, but you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely, and
Okay.
that's a really good question too. I did have that at first, where people were like, "Oh, you're only 12 years old and you don't have any expenses, so I'm gonna pay you $10 to mow my lawn,
Yeah.
and this is a lawn that might take me like an hour to do." And I actually took jobs like that at first when I first started, just because $10 an hour at 12 years old that made me super happy. So I did take jobs like that, but over time, I used the expanding equipment and paying for gas and stuff as a good reasoning to increase my prices, and I've slowly done that. And actually, this year, I'm insured and licensed, and so I'm using that again. I sent out I don't know how many, like 15 price increase letters to most of my clients for just another $5. You don't want to go up too much more than that a year. You don't want to scare them off. But I sent out all those letters, and this way I increased my rates a little bit more. I'm almost at the price of other professionals in the area. I'm like within $5 or $10 of most accounts. About $10 off for my really large accounts, but usually about $5 off for my smaller ones. So I'm definitely getting up there now. And you just have to slowly work your way up to that if you do take the small jobs. And obviously, any jobs I quote now, I will quote closer to professional prices.
Well, that's good. When you talked about that, you send out those letters and you increase the amount, do you have a dollar amount in mind? Like do you say this yard needs a $5 increase and this one needs a $7 increase? Or do you just say everybody's getting 10% across the board? Or how did you come up with the, whatever the number was?
Well, I do since I know each person because I don't have that many accounts yet. I'm only at about 35, and so since I know everyone and I actually can figure out how much time it takes to get in and out of a property while still doing a quality job, and so I use that to figure out how much. And then all the letters, I actually have a rough draft of what I'm going to send, and then I just change the amounts. Like I think it says, hey, my name, I've been doing your property for the last however many years at $20 this year. Because of these extra expenses, I'm going to have to be increasing it to $25. Hope you retain me as your mower this upcoming season. And so I'll do that for some jobs. Other ones will be $50 for the last however many years, increasing it to $55 or maybe even $60.
Got it. And what kind of retention rate do you see on those? Like if you send out 20 price increase letters, how many are you expecting will stay with you and how many do you expect will drop off? I know you probably hope 0 drop off, but do you build in any kind of expectation going into it?
Yeah, I hope that no one drops off, obviously.
Yeah.
But so far, I actually haven't had anyone over the years stop using my services just because of a price increase. The only reasons I've ever had people do that are because they move or because they pass away. So those are the only reasons I've ever had that. But it's never because of the price increases or the quality or anything like that. It's just because of moving and stuff.
I was going to ask, do you mind if we take a question that just popped up?
Absolutely.
And earlier when you were talking a while ago on the YouTube channel, Andy's Lawn Care, I know he chimes in a lot. He says, hey, Wyatt, it's good to see you again. And then Jason Gardner, I believe he's over in the UK. When you were talking about friends, he agrees and says that they're like oil and water. They don't mix well. Which I can see the truth in that. At the very least, it makes things more complicated, I would think. And then the question is from Mikey. He asked if you reinspect lawns to make sure they didn't do major changes. I guess that means when you send out the price increases, but I mean, you're the one who's doing the mowing, so you're inspecting the lawn every week or every 2 weeks when you're on the property, right?
Right. And I actually had one of those jobs this year where I've been mowing it for the last 3 years at $25 a cut. And it takes us about 45 minutes to do, I would say, maybe half an hour to 45 minutes. And they actually, this last year, almost at the end of the season, they got a trampoline. And it's one of those huge rectangular, like Olympic-sized trampolines, I guess. And so it's a pain in the butt to mow under, especially with the Time Masters. We actually, the middle section we can't quite reach. We have to string trim under there and crawl under there and use the string trimmer and take care of that. And it takes more time. So that's why this year I increased their price by another $5, just because it takes a little bit more time. But usually because I'm mowing, I see the properties every week or every other week, and so I can see if there's any changes being done. Over the winter time, there could be some changes, but I'm not expecting anything too drastic. The most I'd expect there to be would maybe be like a storage shed, which makes it so there's less area for us to mow, or a garden bed put in, which again makes it less for us to mow.
And that's fair too. I was looking at that question from a Florida mentality. I didn't think about, winters where you could have, maybe 5 or 6 months where, depending on where you're at, so that was a good point. In Florida, it's only a couple months. So it's like, how much could the yard really change?
That's true.
One more question came in from Andy. Do you mind if I ask you that?
Oh, yeah.
He wanted to know how you handled angry customers. You never have them because your service is just so good.
Well, I actually have had angry customer. I had this one lady this past season actually, and she hired me. Her and her husband were going on a trip for like 3 weeks or a month. They were going over to Egypt, I believe, and so they hired me to mow their property. It's a very nice house on a very nice neighborhood. And so I charged my normal rate, which was a little lower than they were expecting, which made them really happy. And we actually, the first time we went there, we were surprised because they had the lawn fertilized, and whenever I asked, she avoided that question for some reason. And so whenever they called us to come, they wanted us to do the first cut while they were there. And actually, it was crazy tall. It was about a foot tall when we got there. So we ended up going over about 3 or 4 times, side discharging it the first 2 times, and then bagging it just to make it look nice. and her husband came out whenever we were in the side discharging stage and saw the clumps everywhere, and he was not happy. But I think after he saw the finished product, he was really happy. But his wife still wasn't, that we had to side discharge it first, and that those cars that came by during that time had to see the yard in that state or whatever. So she wasn't very happy about that. And I actually sent her a letter this year to see if she'll consider hiring us full time. But I'm not sure how that will turn out since she was angry. But I just try to handle it very calm. I try not to get angry myself, because that would not help the situation at all. And you're a business owner, so you have to be, very professional about it and very understanding. And the customer is always right. So you have to try to be like that. And I don't know. I just try to handle those kind of people. Very calm, and if it gets to be too much, I just have to let them go, just because I don't want to have that in the business, if that makes any sense. I know I kind of rambled a little bit there.
No, I think it answered the question. I don't do much bagging here in Florida. The sun breaks everything down by the next day. Was it so tall that you can't, can you not bag really, really tall grass on the first pass?
Yeah, so grass here, if it's fertilized, can grow like crazy. I can actually, if it's fertilized in the springtime in a week, it can grow. It's not uncommon for it to grow like 7 inches from the last cut. And we have really, really thick grasses here. So and they stay wet too, down in where they're being cut, because it's a really heavy dew every morning. I actually have to wait usually till about 12 or 1 in the afternoon before I can even start, because it's just such a heavy dew. And sorry, brain fart. What was your question again?
It was talking about if it's so bad that you can't bag it on the first pass, if it just, the mower won't handle it.
Yep. So if that happens, lots of times it will be too heavy of grass to bag, and so we'll have to side discharge it first. But for people who don't fertilize, though, usually you can bag it just fine. But I have found that for most yards here, most small ones, I do need to bag those. And then I still side discharge the very large lawns. And then I usually bag right around the home. But the rest of it, the sun breaks that down within a couple of days as well. So then it looks fine.
Good. Well, we're getting about to the end. Was there anything that you wanted to cover that we hadn't yet? Or anything you got upcoming that you want to plug? And if folks want to follow you, they can do so. YouTube, do you do anything else other than YouTube?
I also have a Facebook page, just Wyatt's Lawn Service, or Wyatt's Lawn Mowing Service, one of those two on my Facebook page. And I actually do updates on there lots of times, even before my YouTube subscribers see it. So I just actually posted a video, not video, but update that I just did a whole bunch of stuff to my new trailer that I bought. And that'll be coming out in next week's YouTube video.
Good deal.
So, yep.
And then the YouTube is Wyatt's Lawn Service.
Yep, Wyatt's Lawn Service. Yep. So if you guys haven't already, I would really appreciate the subscribe, just because I'm trying to do my part, help the lawn care community. But anyways, I think that's really it for this interview. Is it Naylor? Isn't he next?
Yeah, we're gonna. If you wouldn't mind just hanging on until we can see if he's on or not.
Okay.
I haven't seen him chime in. I'm gonna see if we can text him.
While we're waiting, does anyone have any more questions? Go ahead.
James is on. He's gonna be on the spot after Naylor. Is it just me or we get behind? Just a couple of minutes.
Yeah, it happened at the very beginning. There was some technical difficulties. Yeah. I believe with Shane it started. So yeah, we're a little bit behind.
We should be able to make up for it. I mean, right now it's 3:01 and Naylor's on at 3. So give me 1 second.
Okay. Chantry Goodwich said, what made you want to get into this business? I actually remember talking with you about plug phones, so that's so cool that you're here. Anyways, I got into this business just because I wanted some extra money. I think the original reason was actually I wanted to get a bicycle, and I got $2 a week, I think, for doing chores. So I would have had to save up for a really long time for the bike that I wanted at Walmart. So I decided to start mowing lawns, and I saved up for that bike within, I think, a week. I got that bike, and so after that, I've just been growing it ever since then. And I try to get bigger goals every year. This year's goal is to get a lawn care truck, and hopefully by the end of this year, beginning of next year, a 6x12 trailer, and maybe another stand-on mower. Yeah, glad to hear you think it's cool. I definitely think it's cool. Actually, I had a assignment in school saying what I want to do as a career, and this was a career choice, obviously, because I'm still pursuing it. I don't think college is the right path for me, so I'm choosing to stick with lawn care and then grow and expand my business. And like I said earlier, I just became licensed and insured, so I'm gonna start trying to get more commercial counts this year. I already have one. For one guy, he's not worried about me not being insured. But now that I am insured, I can go out to a lot more places like McDonald's, or I have this huge home building company. They have what are those the modular homes set up, and they have a whole bunch of different places that they would want me to take care of. Mikey says to take marketing courses. Actually, a step ahead of you, bud. I've already taken up quite a few marketing courses as well as entrepreneur courses throughout my school, and I'm actually doing a business course right now, and taking several math courses to help with all that stuff as well.
All right, and Naylor's popping on. I had given him a link that we did links to test the software, and he was trying to get in through that one, so I gave him the right one, so he's jumping in.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't want to cut you off. Finish answering the questions that you had.
No, I think that's really it for today. I think I covered everything. But hey, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to put this back together, put this whole thing together. Just because I know I've been talking with you for a while, and I think it's been like a 2-month project for you. A lot of time was put into this, so thanks a lot. I think it's really cool what you did. And I don't know, maybe if this goes on again next year, that'd be pretty cool. I'll definitely be happy to watch it again.
I hope so, and I appreciate the kind words. It's very kind of you. All
Absolutely.
right, man. Well, thanks, and have a good rest of the weekend, okay?
All right, thanks. You too. See you guys.
See you, Wyatt.